Welcome back, you beautiful people, to another Tuesday Thoughts, because today I'm with Van again, as you see here. And as from the title, it's obvious we're going to talk about Goblin Slayer. There's only been 2 episodes, and I've only read the manga until the part where those episodes end, so...
And I have watched just 2 of those episodes. I haven't read the manga.
And as you see again, we have our shishas here, our hookahs. And if you want to see those reviews for these, we're going to make another video for that, which is going to be on Saturday, on Shisha Saturday. So stay tuned for that. So I'm with Van today again, and you guys might not know this, but he's actually my image board guy. He's, he goes through those forums like 4chan, Reddit, whatever.
Well, yeah, I do frequent a certain image board, and I'm familiar with the opinions of my fellow basement dwellers on these topics.
So yeah, we're basically just going to be able to, run down what's happening with Goblin Slayer. If you should watch it with these past 2 episodes, because I already have my opinions in it, and he already knows some of other people's opinions in it. And let's just go ahead and start. So what do you think about the first episode itself?
Well, I think the first episode, it does a nice job of presenting what Goblin Slayer is all about. It's very edgy, it's very gory. And yeah, it's not ashamed to showcase rape scenes, gore scenes, and yeah, there's even baby killings involved.
Before I actually even watched the episode, that's what Van told me about, baby killing scenes and all that. But I wasn't expecting it to be like that, because I expected it to be a real baby. But it happened actually. Oh yeah, spoilers ahead, definitely for this video. So the baby killing scene was actually goblins, baby goblins basically, or children goblins, and it didn't have that much of an impact from me, both in the manga and in the anime. I think in the manga they really humanize them more. Like in the manga they put more empathy on everyone, not just the Goblin Slayer and the priestess girl, I forgot her name, but in the manga, compared to the anime, the manga had these backstories for the other party members that were with the girl, and before they got killed, they showed them what they did all the way to get there, and then they just died. But then, you get kind of more empathy for them.
Well, now that you've mentioned that, I think that, from what you've talked about, I think that, yeah, maybe the manga does a better job of making the killing scenes, the gory scenes, and the rape scenes more shocking, because when we're presented with the characters at the start of the story, I mean, people tend to believe that, oh, these might be the main characters. They might recur. Yeah, they might be recurring characters.
Unless if you've seen the promotional material, which obviously they're not. But yeah. But again, with going back to the anime this time, when I watched the anime, because I watched the anime first, and at first it didn't have that much of an impact for me. For me, definitely the manga had a bigger impact from the first episode. The anime, I believe, it's appealing more to the goblins just being evil. I mean, they seem even more evil by, killing off the hopeful adventurers and all that, but in the manga, they had, it's aside from that part, you had the part where you empathize for them, but then in the anime, it's like they're just mindlessly evil. And that actually goes on to episode 2, but do you have anything else to talk about episode 1?
Episode 1. Well, starting from episode 1, I've heard a lot of buzz from people being offended by the rape scenes.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to watch it.
Rape's always a touchy subject, but yeah, there's more anime that showcases rape scenes, but as Goblin Slayer is getting a lot of buzz right now, I believe the marketing's on point, then yeah, there are more people to be offended by the scenes.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know how they do it in anime production, but do they make all of the episodes before they release them, or do they make them per week?
Well, I don't know with Goblin Slayer, because with what they just make it, as the manga goes on. Yeah.
It's a nice way to go to episode 2 with this, because actually episode 2 kind of had a big reaction to episode 1, or at least the reaction of people to episode 1. So in episode 2, or at least in the chapters of the manga of episode 2, there was actually also a rape scene there, which is they pretty much showed the same thing happening to other adventurers, where before Goblin Slayer and the priestess girl got to the place, there were other adventurers who, they fought, they tried to fight off the goblins and then they lost. And it was an all-girl party this time, and then they all got raped. But in the anime, they totally cut that off, and then they just made it a streamlined narrative of, again, the goblins being evil, more of the point of view of Goblin Slayer himself, which is, it's nice because at least you can get a different experience by watching the anime and reading the manga, because from the anime you get more of this feel of the world, the dark world of Goblin Slayer, and how the main character Goblin Slayer views it.
Yeah, and from episode 2, I think it also does a nice job of presenting Goblin Slayer as not just this edge fest or rape fest. It also showcases Goblin Slayer himself as being human, having motives for his seemingly mindless killing of goblins, because he hates goblins so much. And yeah, there had to be a reason for that. And episode 2 does a nice job of saying that, hey, it's just it's not edge for the sake of edge.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's all.
He has this backstory that you can kind of tell, like based on what he's been saying, on the story that at least on the narrative that he's telling the priestess girl, which I forgot her name. I don't really know. Do you remember her name?
Not really.
No, she's not that important for us yet.
Let's just call her the priestess.
Because we have the Goblin Slayer and the priestess, so it doesn't make really much sense. I know in the manga they said her name, but I don't remember in the anime, even though the anime was just a few days ago. But then again, by the time this video comes out, there's already episode 3. But
yeah, and there's subtitles, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, from the subtitles, I read the subtitles, and her name is not even mentioned much.
Okay.
So I think from that, I think her name's not really important.
Not now.
So she's the priestess. She's important, but she's important because she's the priestess, and she's with Goblin Slayer.
Now I want to transition to the manga, because in the manga it was more fun for me, because it had that part of having the narrative of Goblin Slayer, because in the manga you can just read it as long as you want. You can read a page as long as you want. Focus on the little details that they show in the manga, which is, you can kind of get that narrative from reading the manga as well. But in the anime, since it's just goes on and on for 20 minutes, they have to really emphasize it to you, because if you miss that part, you're not going to notice it that much anymore. And
let me get off track here.
Yeah.
I want to talk a bit about anime and manga. The things lost when translating manga to anime, because I'm not reading the Goblin Slayer manga. So I'm curious to see what will be cut, because from my experience with reading Berserk and the 2017 or 16 anime, it actually cut a whole arc in the Berserk manga, and I'm curious to see if whole arcs will also be cut here in Goblin Slayer.
Well, let's see. Because right now I think the manga is like 20 something chapters only, and from what I've been reading, it's like 2 chapters of a manga is 1 episode of an anime. So that's already 20 chapters. That's still just 10 episodes for them. And again,
that's a lot to squeeze in one episode.
Yeah, that's a lot of squeeze. But at the same time, again, I'm still wondering, like, they're cutting off some funny parts. Basically, it's, for me, the funny parts is what they cut off. So the first part is actually, so they have the intro. They go to it shows the girl talking about Goblin Slayer. The first funny part that they actually kind of cut off was that in the manga, at least when the only time I saw it, the time when they were eating. So it just showed that Goblin Slayer, I don't think they showed him have like this part of his helmet off here, so I just have him like his whole helmet, and he just has the spoon like here.
Oh, but
so,
there's also an eating scene in the anime.
No, there is, but it's more funny in the manga, because in the anime you can see him how he eats, because it's the
you see the Goblin Slayer's mouth.
Yeah, it's off here in the chin part, but in the manga it's just one part and just here, and then like you assume like, okay, how is he gonna eat? And it was funny for me. And the next part that was funny was when the poor guy who went to the guild, basically, I don't know what they call it, to the place where they post the jobs. So the old guy who was asking for help. So from the anime, when the old guy went to the place to offer jobs because his place was run down by goblins, it's just basically, it's like, oh, I need help, this is all the money I have, and then that's that. That's like, they really just focused on getting the job there and then having people look for the jobs, and then nobody getting the goblin jobs because nobody wants them since they're porcelain level, and then Goblin Slayer gets it. So that's the basic thing in the anime. But in the manga, if you would read it, it's like it shows a whole part of like, it's a funny scene where he's like, oh, I need help, and then as soon as he gives the money, then the girl's like, oh shit, this isn't even worth that much, and then he's still there. That's not the part where she's talking with the other girl. So it's just a whole funny scene. I suggest you guys to read it, especially since you've already seen the manga. You can have a visualization of how it all goes down. And then right after the old man goes, because in the anime there's this one guy who's just like sweet talking to the girl, and then she gives him a potion, and that's all that. But in the manga, it was like it shows them all go into the place. What's the place called? Into the guild. Into the guild, yeah. So the guy just goes into the guild all like proud, like he feels like a main character, like a main funny guy in the show. And then it's just this whole thing where he's just parading and all. And then pretty much the dialogue is half of it is the same, I guess, or 70% of it is the same. It's just a lot of funny parts were taken off. And then I think that's where they deviate from that. Like from that moment when Goblin Slayer gets the job, it already deviates, because the conversation that he had with the cashier or the girl was that he just wants to get this one job because it's he just wants to kill goblins, and this is the best place to go to. In the anime, they already showed that there were already other party members who, just like in the first episode, went to go to this other place, and then they might die, and then Goblin Slayer's like, nah, I just want to do this other one. But in the manga, there's actually no reference of another party going to the other place, which is I don't remember. And in the manga as well, like Goblin Slayer says, I don't know if it's necessary, but he says like, oh, we're gonna go to this place, we're gonna get this job because it's on the way to the other job. So in the manga and the anime, it's the same. They still show them fight off the forest, or the tree place, the tree fortress basically, which was in the manga. It was explained as an old elven fortress that was abandoned. So it appears that elves in the Goblin Slayer world are rare already. Just like I guess in most.
That's why in the after credit scene, the guy was surprised to see the elf ears.
Yeah, I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah. So so when we go there, when we go to the scene where they go to the fortress, that's when they also deviate. So in the manga, it showed first that there were those girls again who tried to beat the goblins, and they were actually doing good at first, and then they lost because of this one guy who threw a rock at them, and then they just knocked out, and then the next scene they're just getting raped. But in the anime, they cut that out. Probably, I don't know, they expected that there might be too much negative reactions if there's a rape scene every episode. And then they just showed him, do his thing, just kill off the goblins, even though it seems like they're already doing some implied rape because there was like some naked bodies there, but it's not as graphic as the manga.
Or the first episode.
Yeah, or the first episode. So aside from that, it goes pretty much the same. I mean, it's the artistic direction that changes from there, but the narrative is pretty much the same when the Goblin Slayer is killing them, and then he's explaining how, I think and he's explaining how, when a goblin gets to run away, they level up basically, which is how it happens in some games, or actually, it's like the same thing that happens in Shadow of War. When the boss gets away, he becomes a nemesis and becomes stronger or whatever. But basically, that's what he's implying in that scene. And then the last deviation they have is the last part. So the last part, when the bard or whatever, the guy who's singing about the Goblin Slayer, in the anime, it's just straightforward. He's just singing about the Goblin Slayer, and after he sings, the elven girl and two other guys, which was also not in the manga. In the manga, it was just the elven girl, from what I remember. He just tells her like, oh, he's in the frontier, blah blah blah, do that. But in the manga, I don't know if like this is implied in the anime, and then they're just not saying his inner narrative or his inner monologue. But in the manga, after when the girl asks, or when the elf girl asks the guy where the Goblin Slayer is, he's basically saying in his own inner monologue that he just made it up. That Goblin Slayer is not real, or he doesn't really know anyone like that, or he's another person. And then when she asks him where he is, it's like he just points like he's there in the frontier, because
That's a lot of context.
Yeah, so that's like very different when it comes to that. So I don't know if they're gonna address it in the next episode or what. That's like, I don't know. We're not gonna know if these things, these small changes, have any repercussions in the end. Maybe they took it out because it doesn't really affect the total narrative of goblins being evil, which is like what the anime it looks like. They're really trying to push forward that narrative and try to cut out all the other bullshit just to save time, I guess, and put more emphasis on again the goblins being evil. But I'm excited to see what happens in the next episode, where if they hopefully meet the other party members, because if you've seen the anime second episode already had the intro and the outro.
Yeah, and
so in
all
the intro,
those guys are there.
Yeah, the guys at the end were, or the girl and then the two guys at the end were already part of the main party, basically, of Goblin Slayer. So I guess they're gonna be there for quite a while, not gonna die or something. And that's it.
I think it's a shame that the funny parts are cut out, because from all of the edge and controversy on the first episode, the funny parts would have helped. Aside from making Goblin Slayer feel more human, the funny parts would have helped the whole anime feel human,
Probably. Or maybe it's just a problem with the setting the tone, because one thing that I'm thinking of is that maybe if they had that those funny scenes in the same episode as there's a rape scene, it's like it's kind of weird. Like, oh, are they taking light of this? I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? That's what I want to hear from the comments. And again, if you guys like the video, hit thumbs down below.
Thumbs down?
Hit thumbs up down below. And then subscribe if you're not already, because we're going to try to upload these weekly Goblin Slayer videos every week at least. Yeah, which is so weekly. And hit the bell icon, because it helps you get notified whenever I upload a video.
And we want to know what anime you guys want us to talk about.
Yes, definitely. One thing I want to watch, I want to also do videos on, is the new JoJo's, but I haven't watched. I'm only on part 4 right now, so I can't talk about that yet because I'm gonna get spoiled. But hopefully, if I get to watch it right away, maybe we can reach until like episode 3, and then hopefully talk about it from there. Yeah, that's basically it. The last thing I want you guys to do is, of course, share this video to all of your beautiful friends, so that they can all also contribute and share the love of the anime community, and again
And talk with us.
Yeah, talk with us and see what else we can do with these types of videos. And see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Remember to tune in this coming Saturday for another Shisha review video.
On these shishas.
On these Shishas specifically.
We're gonna do it right now as soon as we sign off. Bye bye.